I've heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do ya? Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, and the major lift. The baffled king composing hallelujah. 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 Your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof, her beauty and the moonlight overthrew ya. She tied you to her kitchen chair, she broke your throat and she cut your hair, and from her lips she drew a hallelujah. Maybe there's a God above, but all I've ever learned of love was how to shoot somebody who loved truly. It's not a cry that you hear at night. It's not someone who see the light. It's a call and it's a broken hallelujah.
Thank you very much.
All right, good morning. Welcome. Thank you for joining us this morning. My name is Kerrie Niemeyer, and I'm the Director for Marketing and Sales for Wells Great Tours. And we are here this morning for our fall travel show. Of course, we wish we could be hosting this in person, but luckily for technology, we can do this online. And I do have the pleasure this morning of introducing, of course, our VIP of the company, our founder, our owner, our president, our tour director, our fearless leader, Roland Neve. Thank you. There's Roland. Thrilled to have him with us this morning. Also with us this morning, a very important man behind the scenes. He is the one putting together all of these fabulous itineraries, and he is our product of development, Fraser Neve. So welcome, Fraser. So I want to say thank you so much for joining us. We did have a slight technical difficulty this morning where we are limited to 100 people to join us live. So we do apologize for that. So, but don't panic if you couldn't join us live or you have any technical difficulties. We are recording the show this morning, and I will be emailing it out to all of you this afternoon who registered. Also, we are doing a draw for 3 travel vouchers at the end of the show. And everyone who registered names has gone into that draw, so don't worry if you couldn't join us live. We've still got your name in the draw. So we'll get started, and then just one other housekeeping thing. If you do have any questions, go ahead, put them in the chat box, and we will try to address any questions just at the end. So now I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can get started. All right, so here we go. So this is our fall travel show. So we have some very new and exciting itineraries to talk about. So we have a few for 2021 and also for 2022. Now, recently, so 4 times a year, we make an experiences quarterly brochure. Our recent one for the fall was sent out just over about 2 weeks ago, and we are sending that digitally by email. So make sure you do have your email registered with us so you can get this brochure. And there is a travel savings coupon in there that is valid until October 12th. So just a few more days to save some money. Now, of course, we're living in a bit of a new world, and we want to know that we are traveling very safely. We are following all the protocols. Of course, some things are changing daily, but we are up to speed on what different attractions require, different hotels. If masks are mandated, we will be following those rules. So we do have our safety protocols. It is on our website. You can ask our office staff for this. And we did also mandate vaccines, so you have to be double vaccinated to travel with us. So it's just nice to know we can be back on the road and you can feel as safe and confident when you're traveling with us. Now, also, we reduced our group sizes during COVID, but things are moving forward. So we have resumed to some larger groups. So we are filling coaches on some tours. If you do like to travel in smaller groups, just make sure you look for the icons. We have the Tour 15, the Tour 25, and also that Tour 30 logo, which means those tours specifically will be limited to that group size. And we do offer departure points throughout British Columbia. We have pickup points through the interior, on the Lower Mainland, and also on Vancouver Island. And we do always like to point out that each one of our tours is rated by an activity level. This is a level 1, 2, or 3. And we do ask you to please make sure you read this very carefully when you're booking a tour, going over that itinerary, just to make sure that you can participate in the activities that are provided. The picture you see here is a group just from this past fall. They were helicoptered up to the source of the Fraser River. This photo was taken by Marion, the tour director. And just a really, really cool picture. But we wouldn't want you to go on the tour and not be able to take part in some of those activities. So we just want to make sure that you are up to the level that you're signing up for. We do offer early booking discounts on many of our tours. So the sooner you book, the more money you do save. So make sure you are looking for those early booking discounts. And we also offer a loyalty rewards program. So when you travel with us, you earn points. Those points can then be redeemed for a money value. 1 point is worth $1. And we keep track of your points. As you earn points, you earn different levels with us, some new exciting prizes. And we do keep all of your data in our system. So if you have any questions about how many experience points you've earned or where the level you're at, just call your local office and we can look that up for you. And we do have 2 fun contests we are running. We run these annually, And we have our Facebook photo contest and also our most memorable moment. So if you have traveled with us, it does not have to be in the past year. It can be on any Wells Grey tour you've taken with us. If you want to share some photos you've taken or share a wonderful story or experience you had while traveling with us, we then put it into the contest. And in December, we find out who the winner is and we give out some really fabulous travel vouchers. If you do have more questions about either of these contests, you can email myself. It's Kerrie@wellsgreytours.com. Or you can call me. I'm in the Kelowna office. Okay, so let's jump into Christmas. So if you can believe this, Christmas is 79 days away. So just around the corner, Christmas is coming up. And to get us right into the Christmas spirit, our first tour out of the gates is Leavenworth Christmas Lighting. This is an annual tour that we often run. Unfortunately, of course, with the border being currently closed, we are still selling this tour with hopes that the border will open at the end of October and this tour can go ahead. It is an awesome getaway to the beautiful Bavarian village of Leavenworth. Leaving from the BC interior in November for 4 days, and also from Vancouver Island and the Lower Mainland for 4 days. We do have early booking discounts up to $60. We stay 3 nights at the lovely Enzian Inn, and this is the Elfhorn Player playing on the roof of the Enzian Inn, and you just feel like you're in the Alps. There's delicious food at the Enzian Inn. It's located right downtown, so you can walk to all the lovely shops. We also, for our group, put on a concert. The Leavenworth Village Voices comes and does a Christmas concert for our groups. Also, Leavenworth's acclaimed harpist, Bron Journey, does a special concert for us. And there's even an option for a sleigh ride at Redtail Canyon Farm. This is from our group a couple years ago. Okay, and now for Christmas, we have 2 Christmas tours. We have Christmas in Vancouver, and this is offered to both our interior clients and Vancouver Island clients. It is filling up very, very quickly. The beautiful picture you see here is at Van Dusen Festival of Lights. So we go to Van Dusen Gardens for this absolutely gorgeous Christmas festival. Have lots of time to tour around the beautiful gardens. Our interior tour, so the people from the interior will stay 5 nights at the Granville Island Hotel, which is a wonderful location on Granville Island. You have time to browse all the beautiful shops on Granville Island. And then we're including lots of highlights while you're away. We do a lunch cruise on the paddle wheel on the Fraser River. We're also going to see a show, which is really exciting. We can go back to theater productions. We're going to see the Dolly Parton's Smoky Mountain Christmas Carol. And then also on the picture on the right, in Vancouver, they do a parade of Christmas Carol ships. And we're going to cruise along the harbor during this parade. So our Victoria departure to Vancouver, very similar. We do stay at a different hotel. The Victoria tour is staying 4 nights at the Fairmont Hotel Vancouver. And many highlights as well. They also do the lunch cruise on the paddle wheeler of the Fraser River. They're going to also visit the Burnaby Heritage Village. They will do the ship harbor cruise and also go to see the theater production of Dolly Parton. It's a really fun way to spend Christmas. And of course, there'll be some Christmas dinner included. So you'll have a delicious turkey dinner. You won't miss out on any of the traditional fixings. Then our other tour is Christmas in Victoria. So this is leaving from the BC interior and the Lower Mainland. It is filling up very quickly. The picture you see here is Bouchart Gardens. So we do go to Bouchart Gardens for the Festival of Lights. And a couple other highlights. We stay 4 nights at the Chateau Victoria. Love this property. We spend a lot of time here. They decorated in Christmas decorations. It's a gorgeous place to stay. And then while we are on tour, we will visit either the Craigdarroch Castle or the Helmkin House. We also have a visit at the BC Royal Museum. And we'll have a special entertainment by the Victoria Operatic Society. And then we head off to Vancouver to also see the Dolly Parton show, which is at the Stanley Theatre in Vancouver. So lots and lots of fun to get away for Christmas. And then to ring in 2022, I can't believe how fast time has gone. We're already talking about 2022, but we are going down to Vancouver to ring in 2022 in style and enjoy the annual performance of Salute to Vienna. This is a tour we offer every year. Of course, the last couple of years we haven't been able to go, so we're very excited to go back. It is presented by the Vancouver Symphony and has an outstanding cast of 75 musicians, singers, and dancers. And we have reserved superb seating in the center of the orchestra at the Orpheum Theatre. And we stay at the Fairmont Hotel Vancouver for 3 nights. So just a celebrating in style for 2022. All right, now we're going to jump into our winter getaways for 2022. First up, we have Kootenay Hot Springs. So this is an interior tour only, leaving in February for 5 days. We do have some early booking discounts available. A lovely getaway to the Kootenays. We're going to relax at 3 different hot springs. We visit Fairmont, Radium, and Ainsworth. And our accommodation is right next to the hot springs, so you have lots of time to enjoy them at your leisure. We spend 2 nights at Fairmont and then 2 nights at Ainsworth. Then also in February, this is offered to both Vancouver and interior clients. I'm going to spend 4 nights at the Castle in the Rockies. Banff Springs Hotel, it is one of Canada's most famous hotels and located, of course, in the magnificent Banff National Park. We will have time to enjoy some fantastic meals, the impeccable service. We have a local historian from the hotel who's going to give us a guided tour around the entire property. So I know that's going to be very interesting. And then a couple other highlights, we soak in the Banff Upper Hot Springs and also ride the Banff Gondola up Sulphur Mountain. So just incredible views of Banff National Park. And one of our favorite properties is the Wickenish Inn. This is located on the wild west coast of Vancouver Island. We take usually 4 groups a year, 2 groups in November and 2 groups in February. It is such a popular destination. Of course, it is a 5-star property and is one of the top hotels in Canada. So we're very fortunate to stay there. Now, the good news for our Vancouver Island clients is we still have a few seats left for our February departure. But sadly, interior and Lower Mainland, I have to tell you that it is a waitlist only. It's already full, but it's not going until February. So if you are interested, make sure you get your name on that waitlist. But going to enjoy the resort and plus visit, we visit Tofino, Long Beach, and Ucluelet, and even see a theater production in Parksville. All right, now we're going to jump into our spring and summer BC getaways for 2022. First up, we have our scenic waterfront hotels. This is an interior tour only in April for 7 days. We do have some early booking discounts. The picture you see here is the Beach Club in Parksville, a gorgeous property right on the water. There's a beautiful walkway all along the ocean you can do. And we've picked 4 very unique properties. We have so much scenery in BC, and we're going to stay in all these hotels where we're right on the ocean or the water. So our first night, we go down and do an overnight at Inn at the Quay, which is in New Westminster. That's the picture in the top left. Then we're going to go over to Victoria and spend a night at the Inn at Laurel Point, which is in the top or in the bottom corner picture, and this is in Victoria's Inner Harbor. Then we make our way up to Painter's Lodge in Campbell River. This is a classic fishing lodge. We're going to spend 3 nights here, and it overlooks Discovery Passage, an absolutely fabulous property. And then our last night is at the Beach Club, which is that first, I'll just go back 1 slide, and 1 night at the Beach Club. And then some other highlights while we're on this tour, we do a whale watching trip out to Race Rocks. We're going to visit the new Malahat Skywalk. So that's what you see here in the photograph. You can walk all the way up. It's a beautiful, it's fairly easy. We've had some clients that we know that have done it. You can take your time, you can walk all the way up, and the views are absolutely spectacular. And there's even a slide. If you so choose, you can slide all the way back down, which is what you see on the right. Then we're also going to visit the Elk Falls Suspension Bridge and even have a guided tour of Strathcona Park. Okay, next up, now this is a brand new tour that Roland created this year, cruising the Lower Mainland. So this is an interior only tour in May for 6 days, and it includes 5 cruises on small ships. So if you like getting out on the water and having a different perspective than just being on the land, this is an awesome tour. We do have some early booking discounts available. The first, we stay at Harrison Hot Springs. We do a 2-hour cruise on Harrison Lake. Then another trip is with Harbor Cruises, which is the top picture on the right. We're going to explore Burrard Inlet and Indian Arm. Then in the bottom corner, you see the Fraser River Safari, and we do a 6-hour cruise on the Fraser River and into Pitt Meadows. So it's just going to be an awesome perspective of all these different waterways. And then our last cruise is on the Paddle Wheeler, which is the Native, MV Native, and that is in New West, and it takes us right into Ladner. So I'll just go back. That's the Paddle Wheeler. So really fun if you like to get out on the water. You'll love this tour. All right, also if you love the water, we have the BC Fjords trip. Now this trip is very, very popular. We just released it. It's already almost full. Our interior tour leaves in June, and they both leave in June, interior and Vancouver Island. We may be able to do a second departure for the interior group, so stay tuned for that if it does fill up. But some of the most thrilling sites along the BC coast can't be reached by road. The only access is by boat. So this tour is going to include 4 boat excursions to get you into these absolutely stunning remote places of BC. I do have a map here just to show you. This map is on the brochure as well, but whether you're from the interior or Victoria, we make our way over to the island, basically starting in Nanaimo, working our way up the coast, overnighting in Campbell River. We go up to Port McNeill. We do a cruise out to the Rapids, a cruise up into Knight Inlet. We come back to Campbell River, take another cruise into Desolation Sound, which is absolutely magical place. Then on into Lund, which is on the Sunshine Coast. And we'll do another cruise, which is our 4th cruise, into the Princess Louisa Inlet. And then finishing with 1 night in Sechelt on the Sunshine Coast. Here are just a couple photographs of just some of the scenery. So Knight Inlet, very famous for having the grizzly bears. And also this on the right is a picture of Desolation Sound. Okay, next up in June and leaving in July, we have our Inside Passage and Skeena train. And this tour starts, we explore the North Coast by land and sea, but first we're going to start with the 500-kilometer journey from Port Hardy to Prince Rupert. This is on BC's Ferries Northern Expedition. This journey takes 15 hours. It is in daylight, so you will have lots of time to view all the rugged coastline and the abundant wildlife. So it's just a spectacular sailing. Then once we're up in Prince Rupert, we are going to go out on a catamaran for 7 hours. So it's a full day tour out to the Grizzly Sanctuary to see the amazing grizzly bears. And we're also going to tour the North Pacific Cannery. Then from there, we're going to take Via Rail's Skeena train, and we take the train all the way back to Prince George. So this is a full day excursion on the train. We do have deluxe seating in the touring class, which means we're in the dome car and we have 3 meals served at your seat. So it's just going to be a beautiful way to explore British Columbia. And we do have a stop in Barkerville before coming home. All right, the USA. Well, yes, our neighbors are hopefully going to let us come and visit them very soon. We are staying tuned when the border will open, but we are still planning some fantastic trips with hopes that that happens very, very soon. So in February, we have Palm Springs Winter Escape out for sale. So this is a 10-day trip to Palm Springs to really enjoy the Palm Springs desert. We do have some early booking discounts available. The photo you see here is Joshua Tree National Park. So we are going to stay 9 nights at the Palm Mountain Resort. This is the hotel you see in the picture. I have stayed there. It is a lovely property, beautiful pool, an amazing setting, location a block off Palm Canyon Drive, where all the shops and restaurants are found. So you have lots of time to enjoy at your leisure the resort and the shopping. But we've also got lots of fun activities planned while you're there, soaking up the sunshine. We do ride the Palm Springs Aerial Tramway, and I have done this. It is thrilling. I'm actually a little bit afraid of heights, so it's very fun, but it gives you an absolutely amazing view of the whole landscape around Palm Springs. We also spend a full day in Joshua Tree National Park with a guide, which is absolutely beautiful. I loved, this was one of my favorite days of the tour. A couple of other highlights, we visit Sunnyland's garden. We're going to do a garden tour there, and then we're also going to get you out in some Jeeps and do a 3-hour exploration around the famous San Andreas Fault. And we have one more very fun day planned where we do a trip down to Newport Beach, beautiful coastal town. We have a guide with us, and we're going to do a short cruise around the harbor as well. And then we have one other US tour. This is very exciting. We love the Tulip Festival. It's an annual tour for us. So we were so hoping that this will go forward in 2022, the Skagit Tulip Festival. It will be leaving in April. And we do have early booking discounts available. We stay 3 nights at the Tulalip Resort and Casino. It's a luxurious hotel. It's native owned. There's 8 restaurants on site. There's a heated swimming pool, hot tub, fitness center, sauna, spa. So it's almost like an all-inclusive getaway. Lots to do just even at the hotel. But we are there for the Tulip Festival, so we will spend a full day with a guide at the festival, seeing the flora, and we'll stop at the Tulip Town and also at Rosengard. And then we do visit as well. We're going to go and visit Le Conner, which is the lovely waterfront town. We'll have time to stroll along the waterfront, and then we're going to board a boat for the afternoon and do a 2.5-hour cruise around Le Conner, past the Rainbow Bridge, and then into Deception Pass. Oh, right. If you can believe it, we can go back to have theater productions. So this is great news. We have some very fun show tours coming up in 2022. First up is Shen Yun, a classic Chinese production. This is in March for 3 days for both Interior and Vancouver Island. And I have a short video to show you to give you a feel of Shen Yun.
Every once in a while, something comes along so masterful, it leaves you in awe. So inspiring, it changes your life. So beautiful, you wish it would never end. When that happens, it's something not to be missed. Shen Yun, an all-new production every year.
All right, that's going to be a really interesting production. Also, if you joined us a couple minutes before we started, I played a video of Andre Rieu and performing Hallelujah. Just an absolutely beautiful piece and just amazing, his orchestra. Now this is Vancouver, so he is the Dutch violinist. Of course, he's very famous. His only stop on tour in Canada in 2022 is in Vancouver in March. Now we are sending 3 coaches. This is how popular he is from the interior, but they are pretty much all full. We only have 2 single seats left. So if you are interested in seeing Andre Rieu, you need to let us know as soon as possible, because those last 2 seats I think are going to sell very quickly. And next in March as well, we are going down to see Celine Dion. Of course, she is an all-time famous legend who lasts 40 years and really one of the best-selling Canadian artists of all time. So we're thrilled to be going to her performance in March, and this is filling up very quickly. Then next, moving on into May, we have 2 coaches going down from the interior to see Hamilton in Vancouver. And Hamilton is a musical brought from Broadway. It's the American founding father of Alexander Hamilton. It blends some amazing music between jazz and blues and R&B and soul and hip hop. It's a very eclectic music show, and it is filling up very fast. And I do have a short video to show you of Hamilton.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show.
The $10 founding father without a father got a lot farther by working a lot harder, by being a lot smarter, by being a self-starter. To your union and the hope that you provide.
This is Hamilton.
All right. Oh, that looks so good. Just so exciting to be able to go back to a musical. Oh, it's been a long 20 months for all of us, I think. And now I have one more show tour to talk about, and that is Come From Away. So of course, the Canadian musical set following the week of September 11th in 2001. If you can believe that, it's been 20 years already since that terrible event. But this musical tells the absolute true story of what transpired when those 38 planes were ordered to land unexpectedly in Gander, Newfoundland. So just a beautiful story. It is filling up very fast. We are taking a coach from each region in the interior and also a coach from Vancouver Island. And I have a quick video to show you about Come From Away as well.
I'm Irene Sankoff, and I'm the co-author of Come From Away.
And I'm David Hine, and I'm the other co-author and her husband. Come From Away tells the story of when 38 planes and thousands of passengers were diverted to the tiny community of Gander, Newfoundland and the surrounding towns. The people were welcomed off the planes by the people here, and they gave them everything they possibly could.
the generosity in this story that happens in Newfoundland really rhymes with what it was like to be in New York on 9/12 and following. I think New Yorkers were their best self at that moment.
There were almost 7,000 people who landed here, and there was almost 9,000 people in town at the time, so we wanted to tell 16,000 stories in a 100-minute musical with 12 actors.
Suddenly I've got fireworks. Suddenly there's no one saying stay grounded. Looking down, passing them by.
You just can't tell the story without music.
There's very few moments where there's not music.
I have been struck by how much the audience wants to tell their story after the show. You walk through the lobby and everybody comes up and wants to talk about the show and what they were doing that day.
It's been truly humbling to know that we've touched people's lives with this story, because I know we were incredibly touched.
You have your heart, but left a part of you behind.
I'm Irene Sankoff, and
All right. And I have known some people that have seen this show and they said they would go see it again. It is just that moving and that entertaining and just so inspirational. So that's Come From Away. All right. And now I'm going to turn it over to Fraser Neve. He's product of development, and he is going to jump in and talk about some of our thrilling international tours that we have coming up. So, all right, there's Fraser. We're back. Take it away, Fraser.
All right, good morning, everybody. I'm just going to share my screen here. Okay, thank you so much for joining us. It's great to be back. It's great to have our tours running again. When we last had our travel show last spring, we were still on the pause, so this has been fantastic, and I'm sure many of you have been traveling with us since June. I have the pleasure of talking about our non-USA international tours that are upcoming in 2022. And first off, we'll be starting with New Zealand, one of my favorite destinations. My sister lived in New Zealand for a few years, and my wife Elise and I went down to New Zealand in 2016 to visit her for a couple of weeks, and just had an amazing time exploring both the North and South Island. So this tour here is departing March 13th. It is a 3-week tour. It is very comprehensive, and it is a tour 25, so it is limited to 25 people or less. I love this picture here, and I'd like to mention that the population of New Zealand for people is 5 million, and there are 26 million sheep in New Zealand. Here's the map of our itinerary. So we will fly into Auckland and home from Queenstown. We'll spend over a week on the North Island and a week on the South Island as well. So lots of areas that we cover here. A couple of my favorite inclusions on this tour is Rotorua, Waiotapu Wonderland, which is essentially the Yellowstone of New Zealand with thermal geysers. It's really an incredible place to be. And a couple of my other favorites, the Blue Penguin Colony down near Dunedin on the South Island. Very cool experience seeing those little blue penguins make their way from the ocean up the shore and into their little houses. When we went, we did see 96 that made their way back home for the night. And it's just a really neat experience. Another one for me was the drive down into Milford Sound from Queenstown. It is a very, very scenic drive as you make your way down from the mountains right down to sea level. There is a 2-kilometer long tunnel that you drive through, which is pretty much single lane. They don't say that it's single lane, but it should be considered single lane. And then of course, once you get down into Milford Sound, that is a beautiful boat cruise that we'll do as well. So here are some other highlights on the North Island. On the left here, we will do a cruise in the Bay of Islands. And on the right, this is the Hobbiton movie set. This is where Peter Jackson, the director of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit series, he flew over the North Island of New Zealand for weeks, trying to find the right area to actually build this movie set for Hobbiton. And he did settle on this farm, and it is a very, very cool tour that you get to go through to see all the little hobbit holes. It's a very neat experience. On to the South Island, very picturesque area. Mount Cook is obviously the highest mountain in New Zealand at over 12,000 feet. On the left here, we have Tasman Lake, so we will do a Zodiac trip amongst the icebergs here. And on the right, this is Milford Sound with Mitre Peak as the centerpiece. And there is a wonderful boat cruise that we'll do out to the ocean and back. On to Japan. So this is departing at the end of March for just over 2 weeks. There are some spaces left here. It is a Tour 25 again. We have selected the end of March because it is the perfect time to go to Japan and see the cherry blossoms. Typically that peak season is right at the end of March into early April. We will fly into Tokyo and home from Osaka. So we will have 3 nights in Tokyo, 4 nights in Kyoto, and 2 nights in Hiroshima. We will get to experience a few different train rides, a slower one from Kanazawa to Kyoto, and then we get on the bullet train in Kyoto to make your way down to Hiroshima and then back to Himeji. The bullet train is quite the experience. In Tokyo, we will have a full day of touring. We will go up the Tokyo Sky Tree, which is 634 meters high. And this is actually 100 meters higher than the CN Tower, just to put it into perspective. We will visit the Japanese Imperial Palace, which we can see on the right here. And then of course there will be time for shopping in the famous shopping district. Here is a picture of the bullet train. As you can see, the train itself is a little bit blurred in this picture, and that's because it's traveling at 300 kilometers per hour. And we will have 4 nights in Kyoto, which is the historic center of the country, and we'll get the opportunity to participate in a traditional tea ceremony. Moving on to Bhutan and Thailand. So we have done 2 tours to Bhutan previously in 2014 and 2018. So this will be our 3rd trip into this wonderful country. It is departing in April, and we do have some spaces available. This is an activity level 3. It is high altitude. There are some hikes included as well. So we just like to bring that to your attention. Before making our way into Bhutan, we will have 3 nights in Bangkok, and we get to experience a tour of the city by tram, and we'll go past some of the must-see attractions. On the left here is the Grand Palace, which we will have a tour of, and then we will visit some Buddhist temples as well. On the right, we have the long-tail wooden boats, so we will do a little bit of a boat trip as well. And then we'll make our way into Bhutan, and we do a hike up to Totsang Monastery, which many of us will know as the Tiger's Nest. And this is considered to be the country's most sacred site and the best known attraction. Visiting this temple is said to enhance your spiritual happiness. This tour will be going in April. Previously, we did do this in the fall, so we'll actually get to do a few different festivals on this tour that we weren't able to do on the last 2. And so one of those is the Buddhist festival in Paro, and locals believe this festival will remove their negative karmas for the entire year. On the right here, you can see the picturesque view of the Himalayas bordering Tibet. We will get the opportunity to meet some students at a local primary school. It's great to chat with them if possible and hear about their experiences in their country and what they're learning about. We're going to experience the Tang Valley as well. And this is one of the most sacred pilgrimage sites in Bhutan. On to a new tour for us. This is called D-Day at Juno Beach. Some of you may recall that back in 2018, we offered a tour featuring World War I history and commemorated the 100th anniversary of Remembrance Day at Vimy Ridge. And so this is the second part of that tour, which will focus on World War II history, and it features almost exclusively Canadian history and Canadian involvement in World War II. So this is departing on May 31st for 2 weeks. We will be flying in and out of London, and this is due to actually a Brexit rule. We're picking up an expert guide from Britain, and he'll be joining us for the entire tour. He has strong expertise in Canadian military history, and he was a main highlight of our World War I history back in 2018. So we're very excited to have secured him again for this tour. So we will fly in and out of London, and we will take the ferry over to Normandy, where we'll stay 5 nights at Omaha Beach, and then Juno Beach is just adjacent from there. We'll focus quite a bit on that area in Normandy, on the D-Day invasion, and then from there we'll make our way east through Belgium, the Netherlands, and briefly into Germany, just following kind of chronologically how that movement eastwards occurred. And then kind of another highlight here, on the way back to London, we are actually going to be going through the Channel. Many of you probably refer to it as the Channel, but it's now more so referred to as the Eurotunnel. On the right here is a view of the Dieppe Canadian Cemetery. And so there will be lots of museums and memorials that we will visit throughout this tour alongside our expert guide. And the main attraction of this tour, of course, is the D-Day celebration that will be held at Juno Beach on June 6th. So it will be a very good experience to attend. Moving along to the Oberammergau Passion Play. So this has not occurred since 2010. The 2020 version was postponed until 2022. And the next one won't actually happen until 2030, since it only occurs every 10 years. So if you're interested in attending this, do not delay. We only have 5 seats left on this tour. So it is departing August 5th or August 6th. And it is more than just the Oberammergau Passion Play. This is over 3 weeks, this tour. So we'll have lots of touring in southern Germany, Switzerland, Liechtenstein, a little bit into Italy, and then lots of time in Austria as well. Here are some highlights for you. So we will be visiting Heidelberg Castle, which dates all the way back to the year 1214. And we get to take a cog tramway from the valley bottom up to the ruins for a tour. We will spend 1 night in St. Moritz in southern Switzerland. And this is the birthplace of alpine winter tourism. Beautiful area with the mountains surrounding it. Grossglockner is a scenic alpine road between Linz and Salzburg with a height of 2,500 meters. And on the right, the Eagle's Nest. We will visit this attraction. Many people associate this with Adolf Hitler. It was the 50th birthday present from the Nazi Party to Hitler. And interestingly, he didn't actually visit this site too often. It's kind of debated if that was because he had a fear of heights or if because it was so inaccessible. It took quite a long time to actually get up to this area. Neuschwanstein Castle, the inspiration behind the Cinderella Castle. This was built for the King of Germany. And interestingly, he only was able to stay here for 176 days before he mysteriously died in a nearby lake. Another highlight of a visit to Germany is a cruise on the Rhine River. So we'll do a few hours cruising along the river, and there are some incredible castles that dot the hillsides, as you can see in this picture on the right. And finally here, another one of my, my favorite destinations. This is Croatia by land and sea. I've been to Dubrovnik a couple times, and I could go back another few times because it's just such an interesting city. This tour is departing at the end of August for 17 days, and there are just 10 seats left. So we will fly into Dubrovnik, and we'll have a couple of nights there touring around the old town and take a cable car up the hillside for a lovely view of the old town and the harbor. And then we'll board our yacht for a 7-night cruise through the coastal islands, and that will finish in Split. And then we'll have a post-cruise touring up to Zadar for a couple of nights, through Plitvice Lakes National Park, finishing in the capital of Zagreb. So here's a picture of our incredible yacht. So it does hold just 20 cabins, and at this point we are holding the entire ship. So we're hoping that we are able to fill the entire ship with just our clients. It is a really amazing experience being able to be on a small ship going into these small towns. We will go into a few different islands: Miet, Vis, Visevo, and Brac. And then Korčula as well was one of my highlights from being on this cruise. And the post-cruise tour, so we have a picture of Zadar on the left, and on the right is Croatia's capital of Zagreb. And the Plitvice Lakes National Park, give it a Google after the presentation here. It's really is an incredible sight to see, with little waterfalls kind of dotting the hillside. So we do have some waitlisted tours right now. Turkey and Greece is full. That is at the end of March. Natural Wonders of Iceland, departing at the end of May. And then finally Ireland in June. So if you're interested in attending these, definitely still call us and get your name on that wait list. And we do expect to be offering these tours again a couple of years down the road. So I will pass this over to Roland now, and he's going to take us through some cruises for next year.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. I'm going to talk about some cruises, and we have quite a few of them coming up. Since the world has been shut down from cruising for pretty much a year and a half now, it's great to see the cruise lines coming back and offering some departures. I'm looking forward to my first cruise in, it will be 2 years, but that will be to Hawaii in the end of January. My wife and I went on that trip in January 2020, loved it so much that we actually put it on as one of our one of our tours. And so I will be the director on that trip, but it is sold out. Of course, you're welcome to join the wait list and see if we can find a stateroom for you. But going into the other trips that we have available on cruises, in February, we're taking this quite exotic cruise with Norwegian on the Jade, which goes all the way from Dubai to Athens via the Suez Canal. There's very few cruise lines that go through the Suez Canal, and we keep an eye on Holland America as well for that route, but they never seem to offer it. And so when Norwegian came out with this route, we grabbed some space on the ship, and it is almost full with just a few seats left now. So here's one of the famous scenes of Dubai, the luxurious hotel that's right on the waterfront. And you won't get even a basic room in this hotel for less than $1,000 a night. Here's our cruise route from Dubai after 3 nights in a hotel there, around the Arabian Peninsula, up the Red Sea. We have a couple of stops at the north end of the Red Sea, one at Safaga to go on an all-day trip into Luxor in Egypt, and then a bit further north at Aqaba to take the day trip to the famous Jordan site of Petra. Then we go through the Suez Canal, which is probably an all-day trip, but it could be all day and half of a night. Just depends on how much traffic there is. The Suez Canal is one way, so traffic opens northbound for a certain number of hours and then southbound. So we have to wait for that opening of the canal in order to make our way through to the Mediterranean Sea. Then we have 2 stops in Israel, and then 2 islands of the Mediterranean, Cyprus and Rhodes. And then we finish up in Athens, getting off the ship, then traveling through to several archaeological sites in Greece. So here's our ship, the Norwegian Jade. It is one of their smaller ships carrying about 2,200 people. We'll be on board for 18 days. Here's a couple of activities that we do while we're in Dubai, such a famous city of skyscrapers, man-made artificial islands in the Persian Gulf. But one of the highlights is riding the fast elevator up to almost the top of Burj Khalifa. You're up at 134 stories above the ground and a panoramic view all over Dubai. And then another activity is taking a desert safari while riding a camel. In Jordan, we will be walking into Petra. It's about a 2-kilometer walk through a narrow canyon. And this is the end of that walk where it suddenly opens out into the courtyard where you see the remains of this village. And then a boat excursion in Israel that's on the Sea of Galilee is the picture on the right. Now we go to California for a cruise in March. We board the Koningsdam, which is one of Holland America's newer ships, and we cruise up the California and Oregon, Washington coasts into Vancouver. Here's the Koningsdam passing underneath the Golden Gate Bridge. First of all, we stay in Palm Springs, and we have several nights at the Palm Mountain Resort with some local activities. We ride the Palm Springs tramway, and we go into Joshua Tree National Park. In San Diego, we have 2 nights there and some local sites such as the Maritime Museum. Once we're on board the Koningsdam and sailing up the coast, we go offshore to Catalina Island and the town of Avalon, which you see on the left. It's a wonderful place to go and visit. You wander around the streets. There are no cars, just bicycles and small motorized scooters. Santa Barbara is on the right. That's another of the ports of call. Come and join us for the President's Cruise. Now, me being the president of Wells Gray Tours, I've offered this trip for 8 years now. Our first one was to the Mediterranean, but we have done it almost every year except for the pause due to COVID. The last one was in 2019, cruising 4 rivers in Europe and finishing in Budapest on the Danube. Then we came up with the plan of doing the rest of the Danube. So that's what we'll be doing in 2022. We fly into Bucharest, then board the ship and cruise downstream into the Black Sea so that you get to see the actual delta of the mighty Danube River. Then we turn around and we cruise up the Danube past so many famous towns and cities with shore excursions at each one. We finish the cruise at Budapest, but because quite a few people on this trip have already done the previous one, we only spend half a day at Budapest, and then the rest of the time we go on a land tour up into Hungary and Slovakia, then finishing in Bratislava to fly home from nearby Vienna. Here's a view of the ship on one of the rivers. Another great cruise, which also has the Ottawa Tulip Festival on it, but it's the St. Lawrence cruise, a small ship called the Canadian Empress. It only carries 60 people, and we sometimes do this as it is here, with paired with the Ottawa Tulip Festival. And once a year, we also use this ship to travel from Kingston down the St. Lawrence River to Montreal. And then next year, it will be up to Ottawa, or some years we go to Quebec City, continuing on down the St. Lawrence. But this trip in May is the shorter one. It's a 4-day cruise, and you get to see the Thousand Islands. What a place to anchor a ship with the islands all around. We start in Kingston. We pause in Montreal and then go up to Ottawa. And that's on the cruise itself when we offer that. It just got released yesterday for 2022, and it will be in September. The Tulip Festival tour will be staying in Ottawa at the Lord Elgin Hotel, which is just a couple of blocks away from Parliament Hill, a very convenient location. And then you get to see all the fabulous garden displays of the Tulip Festival. Next cruise is to the Netherlands, and that will be going in June of 2022. Here we're on a small Avalon ship, the Artistry II, cruising in the canals of the Netherlands and Belgium. So we are always within pretty much shouting distance of shore, and lots of excursions from the ship as we weave amongst the various canals in these countries. Here's the route that we'll be taking, starting in Amsterdam, going through Rotterdam, and then several other ports before we make our way back to Amsterdam. A scene along one of the canals. And here's our ship. We'll be on board for 7 nights. And there's only about 120 people that are on this ship. And views of 2 of the cities that we'll be stopping at along the way, Middelburg and Ghent. Brussels and Antwerp. Now we move on to closer to home, where we'll be again boarding the Koningsdam, and this will be for a cruise in Alaska. But first of all, we fly to Whitehorse. And this is a rather unique cruise because you won't be able to buy it from Holland America's catalog. It's one that they offer to us exclusively because it is half of a typical Alaska cruise. So after flying to Whitehorse, we have several days there to do local sites. We fly on Air North, and we'll be staying at the Gold Rush Inn right in downtown. The Beringia Center, pictured on the right, is a collection of artifacts about the native peoples that lived in the area between Alaska and Siberia. And that was 10,000 years ago when the Ice Age had greatly lowered the level of the ocean, so this land bridge was exposed. We'll be going to Takini Hot Springs. It's a brand new facility. And then boarding the White Pass and Yukon Railway for the trip through the St. Elias Mountains and down to Tidewater at Skagway. And that's where we board the Koningsdam for the 4-day cruise to Vancouver, with a whole day spent in the wonders of Glacier Bay, where the Grand Pacific Glacier and the Marjorie Glacier flow directly into the ocean, and possibly we'll see some calving with great icebergs peeling off the face of this glacier. The next cruise is mostly a long land tour into the Northwest Territories and the Yukon. We call it Road to the Arctic. In 2017, the Dempster Highway was completed through to the Arctic Ocean at Tuktoyaktuk. And so now it is possible to drive all the way to the Arctic Ocean. So we tie this tour into a lot of sites in the Northwest Territories and then finishing in Anchorage. So here's the route, rather complicated to see on the map, but flying into Yellowknife and then going to Fort Simpson to see Virginia Falls, and then joining the Alaska Highway, going up the Dempster Highway all the way to Inuvik and Tuktoyaktuk. Then we fly back to Dawson City, the top of the World Highway into Alaska and over to Anchorage, and then Whittier, where we actually board the ship. And that takes us down to Vancouver. So here's a few highlights of that. Virginia Falls, which can only be reached by air. We have charter planes that will take us into Nahanni National Park, and we land on the river just above the falls, well, far enough up that it's quite safe, and then walk the trail that leads to the brink of this awesome waterfall that not too many people get to see because there's no roads that go there. Liard Hot Springs on the right, a nice dip in the hot waters. Gold panning at Dawson City, and a cultural tour in Tuktoyaktuk with a local resident. Finally, some Adventure Canada cruises. We love Adventure Canada because they have so many unique voyages in different places. Anne and I have gone on several cruises with Adventure Canada. So has Fraser and his wife, and several of our staff have also. So we've experienced things like the Northwest Passage and the shorter cruise through the eastern part of the Northwest Passage. Next year, we're offering 2 trips with Adventure Canada. The first one is in Atlantic Canada, and that will be in June. So we go around Sable Island and actually land there to see the famous wild horses and the sand dunes. And then in several other stops in Atlantic Canada. So that's the route that we'll be taking from St. John's over to Sable Island, stopping at the Fortress of Louisbourg, Cheticamp, Prince Edward Island, and Charlottetown, and then St. Pierre and Miquelon, the French islands off the coast of Newfoundland, and returning to St. John's. The other cruise, which takes you right up into the Arctic waters, will be going in August. And here's a scene of Baffin Island that I took on our voyage there in 2016. So awesome scenery everywhere through the Northwest Passage and the islands around Baffin and Devon Islands, and then over to Greenland. So here's the route that we'll be taking, starting in Resolute, and then making the stops such as Beechy Island, where the Franklin graves are located, and then Devon Island, which is the largest uninhabited island in the world. Then down to Bylot and Pond Inlet, which is on the north coast of Baffin. Then we cross the Davis Strait to get to Greenland. And then several stops along the coast of Greenland, such as Iqaluit. That's where the gigantic ice field is located that pumps icebergs into the Davis Strait. And those are the same icebergs that you see floating down all the way to Newfoundland. We finish in Kangalussuaq and fly home from there. So I'll turn this back to Kerrie now, and thanks for listening to all the different cruises that we have to offer. I love cruising and really looking forward to getting back onto a ship in 2022, and I hope that you'll be able to join us next year as well.
Thank you, Roland. And he was just sharing his screen there. I'm just going to go back. I'll share my screen. That one last slide to share. We do have, hopefully you can see this now on my screen. So we have some coming soon as well. So Fraser is currently working on these up and coming tours. We have 4 themed towns going down into Washington in May. We have surprising Saskatchewan in June. We are doing a Baltic cruise on Holland America's new Statendam in July. The Cathamu Chorale Festival, that will be in July. Our annual trips to Haida Gwaii will be coming out for sale very quickly, July and August. We also are going to Bella Coola and Tweedsmuir Park in August. The Maritimes and Newfoundland in August. We have a Quebec to Boston cruise in September. Also the St. Lawrence and Ottawa Rivers cruise, Roland was speaking to that a little bit earlier, that's in September. And also a Panama Canal cruise onto Holland America's New Amsterdam in October. So some pretty exciting itineraries just around the corner. If you are interested in any of these particular tours, just give your office a call. What we do is put you down on the interested list, and we give you a call as soon as that tour comes out for sale. And then you have an opportunity to book before we start to advertise the tour. Okay, so now I'm going to stop sharing my screen again. And just before we end this morning, we are going to give away 3 travel vouchers. So trying to save you some money for your future trips. We have a $200, a $100, and a $50 travel voucher to give away. So I have a wheel. I've entered everyone's names who registered with us, and we're going to spin the wheel and help you win some money. So here we go. Share my screen one more time. Oh, it's not sharing. Hold on. Here we go. I want to make sure we show you the wheel. Okay, so hopefully everyone can see this. This is all of your names. We had almost 400 people register to see the show today, so that's really exciting. And here we go. We're going to do our first spin. Okay, so we have our winner. Our first winner is Wayne Friesen. I know Wayne, he's from Kelowna. So we're going to give him a call right after the show. So that was for our first gift certificate was $200. So congratulations, Wayne. Now we're going to go for the 100. All right, Marnie Bradfield, congratulations. You just won a $100 gift certificate. And one more, here we go, for $50 travel voucher. All right, Ricky Bowman, congratulations. So there's our 3 winners. So congratulations, everyone. Just stop sharing my screen so we can all say thank you for joining us, and we wish you all safe and happy travels. If you have, let's open our chat box and just see if we have any questions come in. Do that quickly before we end this morning. I saw one question coming in, and I think it's from Lorraine, and she is asking if we're taking into consideration restaurants, etc., that are asking for vaccine passports. Do you want to answer that, Roland?
Yes, all restaurants have to ask about and look at your vaccine passport. We are being very cautious about which places we choose. And one of our favorite restaurants is actually not doing that check. So we can't use that until COVID is very safely behind us. So we'll be going to a different restaurant in order to be sure that everybody stays safe while they're dining.
Great. And then we have one more question, and she's just asking about our 50th anniversary. Some of you may know that Wells Gray Tours in May of 2022 will be celebrating their 50 years in business. It's a very exciting event for us. We are currently planning some celebrations for our 50th. I'm not sure how much we want to tell you just yet. Roland, would you like to add anything?
We were just talking about it at our staff meeting yesterday, and we'll be working out the final details of anniversary in the next month or so. So you can expect an announcement, we hope, at about the beginning of December. But events for the 50th anniversary will be taking place in late May and June of 2022. Our very first tour was May 20th, 1972, when I was a student, actually just transitioning from Caribou College, which is now Thompson Rivers University, to go to Simon Fraser University. And so our first tours going to Wells Gray Park, our namesake, were run during that summer of 1972. We only went to the one place, and now we go all over the world. So when that announcement comes out about 50th anniversary, then I hope you'll be able to join us.
Very exciting, and very honored to work for a company who's been in business for 50 years and got so many exciting things to look forward to for the future. So we want to say thank you to all of us and for trusting in us and traveling with us and staying faithful and hopeful and all those good things. Fraser, do you have any final words? Anything?
No, just once again wanted to say thank you to everybody for joining us, and we appreciate those of you that have traveled with us during the pandemic and helping us to keep pushing forward. And there's going to be lots of other new tours coming out, so stay tuned and keep the excitement going.
Awesome. Awesome. Yay. All right. Well, thanks everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And we'll hope to see all your beautiful faces next spring. So stay tuned if we can hold our annual events. So, right. Take care.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.